Hey there. So I am going to attempt to do this reading with the insidious rap music playing in the background. It is the energy of the week, guys. Yeah, it's inescapable. So anybody that is opposing you right now is irritated that you are not reacting. And at least in my life, that seems to be the case. So we are going to be using the Tarot of Oppositions today. When we talk about polar opposites, guys, we're talking about extremes, right? So the energy of as of late has been to try to find balance, and the only way I think we find balance, right, is we need to understand the extremes and find the middle point. So extremes are showing themselves this week, or at least for me, they are. And so let's see what Spirit has to say about all this. So here we go. Spirit, can you tell us what is the opposite energy that we are attempting to balance now? And we've got the Hermit. So these cards are meant to be read both sides, so they don't come in reverse or in upright. They come in light and dark. So there is a light and a dark when it comes to the Hermit, right? So when he's upright, as you can see, I'm going to try to get this in the light. Let's see if I can move the light around for it. It might be a little better. When he's in the upright, you see his staff. It's breaking off in two directions. He's got the star above and within his lamp. And there's one little tiny star back there, right? But it's, I kind of see this card as saying as above, so below, right? But he's cautious, right? That the face on him is very, very cautious. When he's in his dark side in the opposite, he's wearing a mask. He's got one staff. There's no light around him, and the star in his lantern is not shining at all. So I feel like this card is telling us that, you know what, you can't really stay in complete hermit mode, because if you're not interacting with people, then what's the point, right? Like everybody, sorry guys, my phone rang, but what was I saying? So when we stay in complete hermit mode and we don't interact with other people, there's no growth, there's no lessons, right? It's easy to be completely in your light when there's nobody else to interact with, right? There's nobody triggering you. There's no lessons, there's no growth, there's no expansion. When you have given everything of yourself and not taken that time for yourself, you have no light left to shine. And I feel like that's where we're at. That's where the collective is at right now. We got to find the balance, you know, right? That's self-care. That's doing your reading with the rap music playing in the background, though it's being done to irritate you regardless, right? Don't let others' darkness envelop you. You shine your light back towards them. In fact, I just noticed I did not turn my little light on. And I did not light my candles. Do you see? Do you see how rattled we get? We are just doing everything we can to stay in balance. And it's just not working out. At least in my case. There's so much opposition, so much what seems to be hatred. I mean, I don't even know how else to describe it, right? It's sad, really. And it's getting harder and harder to not react, but that's what we got to do, guys. We got to just find that balance of shining our light, not forcing it down people's throat, and not letting their darkness in, right? From there, we get the Ace of Swords. This is new beginnings, right? It's a new beginning. It's a new thought process. So when we're in the upright, It is, it looks like he's in his human self, right? But he's coming out of the sky. The hand is coming out of the sky and going into the earth. So that to me is like balanced chakras, right? That's the right thoughts. That's knowing your truth and not being offended when people tell you something that's not true, right? And when it's in the opposition, the extreme opposite, everything they say is unbalancing. It's triggering you. It's putting these dark thoughts in your head about how it may be you and not them, etc. The other thing I noticed too, see how we've got all these little what appear to be a mountain that's been broken down. When it's in the upright, look at that mountain. That mountain's strong. That mountain is solid. There's nothing gonna destroy what that person has built up. But there's also no climbing it. We gotta find that balance, guys. We gotta find the balance. Remember to find that balance. And that's been the challenge in the recent past, right? And from there we get the Eight of Swords. This is walking away from things that no longer serve us. This is not thinking about, you're not even there to let people's thoughts through. Look at that veil. It's completely hidden. All those people back there. You're not letting anybody else take your peace because you're just not even showing up. Whereas this one, everybody has taken a piece and chopped off your head. Balance, guys. Balance. Show up and keep the veil up. Walk away from things that don't serve you. Walk away from people who don't serve you. Walk away from people who are stealing your peace. And then we got the Five of Wands. The first thing I notice is that our fifth wand is literally breaking the middle of the two, right? Of the four. So the Four of Wands is stability. So Five of Wands, that's fighting, that's chaos, right? Look at these guys. They're killing each other. It looks like they're going for the Achilles heel. Do you see that? Here, they're laughing and smiling. They're not even fighting. Like they're pretending. And he's stuck in his root chakra. He's grounded. Too grounded, right? He's so grounded and he's so not in fight or flight mode that he may end up losing that battle. We need to find the balance, guys. Find the balance. Reach in and find the balance of the Five of Wands. Don't take everything personally. Don't see everything as a competition. Try the community, do your own thing, but don't hurt others. And if somebody needs help, help them. If it's not going to hurt you to do so. Actually, you know what? Looking back at this card, that fifth wand is your boundaries. Set your boundaries. And it will work itself out. But basically, this deck literally is about balance. And that is what we're searching for. We're searching for in our thoughts everywhere, right? Swords is our thoughts and wands is creation and destruction. It's fire energy. It is creativity. So don't douse your creativity, but don't also reinvent the wheel, right? If something's working, work it. But if you can improve on it, then improve on it. That rivalry, the opposition, competition, you can have a healthy balance for that, right? If you're a Red Sox fan, there's no balance. There's no Yankees fan alive or a Red Sox fan alive that could tell you that there's a healthy balance in competition when it comes to sports. But I digress. There needs to be, right? Because the reverse of that would be the problem resolved, right? The harmony, the success of it all. But you can't have two winners, right? We got that in yesterday's reading. In the number 13 card from the Alice in Wonderland deck, where it said everybody gets a prize. You know, if everybody gets a prize and there's no winner, then what was the point? You know, what was the point? There's got to be a healthy balance there. And we speak about the Eight of Swords. You know, that's like a freedom, that's escape, you know? And when you escape, you're not there, you haven't shown up. But the self-imposed restrictions and the isolation and the imprisonment, that can't stand either, right? So you can't be isolated and showing up so much that people have taken such advantage of you that you feel the need to escape. Find the balance, right? And that Ace of Swords, you know, it's a conflict. It's conflict, and it's dishonesty, and it's oppositions, right? So be honest, but don't be so honest that you have to create conflict. You know, you can do it in such a way that it's not offensive, right? Constructive criticism. Plant a seed, if you will. I mean, look at that. That's what the card literally is saying. It looks like, right? It's planting. Are you going to grow splinters, or are you going to grow a mountain? What do you want to do there? It's up to you to decide. And in that Hermit energy, you know, I know, I realize I just did the reading backwards, which maybe maybe that in and of itself is a message, because I never do that. And I don't know why I did that, but clearly that was a thing, right? So the loneliness and repeating of past mistakes balanced with fitting in, you know, the traditions. So, you know, do what works, but if it doesn't work, change it. But if it's working and, you know, you don't need to change it, don't change it. Respect the opposition of it. I think that's what this reading is saying, is just find the balance, guys. We're all just trying to find balance. I almost feel like if I had room, I would put those cards all sideways for you guys. But for our advice, we are going to use the Mirror deck. It is literally it's a relationship deck, right? By Jeff Charlie and Lucy Liddell. We'll read from the book because I don't use these too often. And this relationship, right? I mean, that's what the entire reading's about. It's your relationship with others. It's not, you know, if we were completely alone, this shit would be easy, would it not? Oh, we got two cards. So I'm gonna take the upright. Number 7, change, right? That's one side of the coin. And we got responsibility. Number 24. So we've got what looks like the crown chakra, and that looks to me like sacral. So with these two cards, we go from change to responsibility. So I'm going to read from the book because, again, I'm not too familiar with this deck. Obviously, the change in that, I see the earth element, I see the 4 elements, earth, air, wind, fire, and then, of course, the ethereal. The crown chakra, right? So we got 7, and then we got 6, and we got change and responsibility. So to read from the book, oh, I guess these do come in reversals, which this technically was. I didn't think they did. So change. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to find number 7 in the book. You can help me find it. Ready? Here we go. 6 is boundaries. 7, change. Smooth seas do not make skillful sailors. I mean, literally, exactly, right? If you're alone, what relationship growth can you have? Change is a threshold to the new. You are probably unalert. The familiar is being disturbed as the winds of change blow through your relationship. It may take the form of a strong wind, testing the strength of the roots and whatever you planted, or of a hurricane, ripping up everything you've built so far. If we were totally in tune with our natural rhythms, change would pass us by without distress, in the same way that we accept the passing of the seasons. But most of us creatures are creatures of habit, preferring to hold on to what we know, even when it's no longer for our own good. There's our 8 of Swords, guys. We try to stop the wind by blowing back at it all. And it's our resistance to change, our holding on to, that blocks the flow of things and creates an inner stress. When this is the case, the change may mean discomfort, for it demands that for a while we accept the uncertainty and perhaps the chaos of the unknown. It's the nature of all living things to be either growing or decaying. There's nothing else. A decay is not bad. It's merely a changing of form. Nothing is lost. The decay of one structure always feeds and develops something new. It's kind of like the death card, right? The Tower card. You've got to tear everything down in order to create something new. The change card indicates transformation and growth. A time to let go of control and be open to the new rather than mourning the old. Look for the green shoots of new possibilities. Search in places you've never looked before. The wind of change can uncover what was hidden. Don't be concerned about what is happening. Rest assured that you move into unexplored territory, all is as it should be. There's nothing for you to do but wait and see what will evolve. Wonder at the transformation of a caterpillar into a butterfly. Before any birth, there is a period of waiting. So when this card comes in the upright, okay, that's what I just read, because then the inverse is different. That's pushing the river without going against nature. And then the 24 responsibility card. Responsibility. Taking responsibility is the mature acceptance that the only person who controls your life is you. Much the same way as I decided to do the reading regardless of the hideous music in the background. Guilt is an emotion that we have developed to control one another, and all it does is increase the negativity in the world. You're probably feeling guilty or overly responsible for someone else's feelings. Even if you have done or said something that was hurtful, you need to separate the things for which you're responsible from those for which you are not. This may be hard for you for two reasons. The first is your belief that good people have a sense of conscience. The second is that by thinking you're responsible for others and how they feel, you can avoid taking responsibility for yourself. In other words, you don't have to look inside and be courageous enough to follow your own heart. What you may need to realize is that guilt is a distortion of responsibility. Not only does it hang the head and the sap in the spirit, it seeps through the bones, taking away any possibility of joy. Thinking that it's all your fault is of absolutely no benefit to you or anyone. Instead of shrouding yourself in guilt and blaming yourself for all you've done, learn to take healthy responsibility. Accept your part in the situation and connect with the feelings that hurt you or may have triggered in yourself and others. Next, express your regret unconditionally. Let it go, even if someone doesn't want you to. Punishing yourself is every bit as reprehensible as punishing someone else. So, yeah, again, the balance of the responsibility, right? Don't take everything on. Everybody's feelings are not your responsibility, but yours are. And they don't belong, the responsibility for your feelings doesn't belong to anybody but you. And I think that's what we need to remember, right, guys? So if you're triggered, look within yourself. And if somebody else is triggered, know that that's their shit, not yours, right? If they're running around being an asshole, it's because they're an asshole. It's not because you're doing something to create an asshole, right? But if you're running around being an asshole too, then you need to look at yourself for that. And I think that's some really good advice, because all the relationships are changing, because there are extremes being presented to us, and we're just not used to it because we've been stagnant for so long and so comfortable in the dysfunction of it all that we can't even understand how we got to this point, right? Because we've ignored it. So let's get some advice specifically for the feminines in the group from Buddha. And we got the force of the flowing river causes the flowers and herbs and trees to grow. The sacred wisdom in your heart has magical power for your spiritual growth. Look to the Divine Mother, guys. The Divine Mother who only ever asks us to come home, right? She loves us unconditionally. She's the mom that sits up at 4 a.m. and worries that her, newly licensed teenage child has gotten in a car accident and she just wants him to come home. She doesn't care where he's been, what he's done. Just come home, right? That's that love. That's the love we need to tap into to find this balance, right? That unconditional love of, I don't care what you did. Just come home. That is Divine Mother. And I'm literally quoting Michael Murdad on that, who I recently discovered on YouTube. And am hoping to go see his sermon in person this weekend. And we'll see if I can make that happen. But for our masculines out there that are involved in this imbalance, we have choose to lead the dark way for the way of light. So our masculines are refusing, right? Our masculines are the ones that are saying with the teenager in the new license, he better be in the hospital, or she better be in the hospital, because if she's not, I'm gonna freaking kill her. That's the masculine piece of that whole thing. And I think what God is trying to tell us is there's a balance there, right? That yes, they're gonna come home. They may come home hurt, or they may come home fine. And what they've done is no matter, because they've learned, hopefully, and they've grown. And it was their lesson to learn, not ours. And the only thing that we need to do is gently remind them of their lesson and love them and thank God for them coming home. Find the balance, guys. That is the message for today. So I am going to leave it there. You guys all have a wonderful day. Oh, and one last thing before I forget, because it's come up for me a few times this morning. I wanted to look up apples. If anyone knows anything about what apples might mean spiritually, please list them in the comments below. I'm gonna go personally look that up, because I think that may not have been a personal message for me, but if it resonates with you guys, then go look it up and see what's up with that. Okay, but apples are a thing today. So, and of course, what jumps in my head with that is apples and oranges, right? People are different, but it doesn't mean that we can't appreciate the beauty and the sweetness and the flavor of both sides. All right, guys. It's 1919 when I looked up. That's kind of neat too, because 19's been jumping out. All right, I'm done. See, I'm done. This is craziness. I love you guys. We'll talk soon. Bye.